Hey, how's it going everyone? Tazen here today bringing some more awesome JRPG news. Now firstly kicking things off with Resonance of Fate, a PlayStation 3 JRPG. It was released this week on PlayStation 4 and Steam. This is a remastered version that also includes 4K rendering. Now it's interesting, the PC version was released slightly different due to the sheer size of the game in 4K. It was 83 gigabytes. What they've instead done is they've released the remastered version in 1080p. So it's only 16 gigabytes, and then if people wish, they can download a free HD 4K texture pack, which then brings the game back up to 83 gigabytes, but it's not essential. So people who don't have the space, maybe you don't have the screen to even play the game in 4K, can just download the 1080p version for 16 gig. That's awesome. Now it's interesting because just at the time of this release, TriAce announced a delay for the PlayStation 4 network version in Europe only. So in North America and Japan, this was released on PS4 and Steam. In Europe, it's currently already out on Steam, but it's not yet out on PlayStation 4. They haven't given an explanation as to why this is the case. But again, it will only be coming out a couple days later. Now also there appears to be a 10% discount on the game for the first week, so if you're interested in getting it again for a bit cheaper, now's your chance, but I'm sure there'll definitely be sales going down the track. This is currently a digital only release, so if you're interested in getting the game physically, the only way to currently get it physically is by purchasing a second-hand copy of the PlayStation 3 version. But again, I'm excited to see this game come out because it was a game that sort of went under the radar, and it was one that was either loved by people or not really liked by people. So it's a bit of a hit and miss, but because not a large volume of people have played the game, there may still be a lot of people out there who might get a lot of enjoyment from playing it. So this is awesome that they've brought it now to the PlayStation 4. Now moving on to some more news regarding Dragon Quest. So Dragon Quest XI has received its first major patch for PlayStation 4 and Steam. So just going over the details of the patch. Firstly, the details for PlayStation 4. They've identified a bug that can sometimes cause the game to crash when the player is 300 meters away from their horse on the field. So this has been fixed now. People's names have been removed from the list of prohibited words when selecting the main character's name at the beginning of the game. So this article has used Robert as an example. Apparently that name was previously not available to use for the main character's name. That's interesting, but I'm glad they fixed that. And then lastly, they fixed multiple text bugs, so that's awesome. Going on to Steam now, so the Steam patch includes those 3 fixes as well as quite a few more. So firstly, the players are now able to send log data to the Dragon Quest XI development team. For example, when game crashes, basically so the team can work out when it's crashed and why, and hopefully then address those fixes in further patches. Players can choose between 3 different PC settings, so it's low, medium or high. They're preset graphics settings, so allow them to play the game in what ways that's suitable to their current PC system and settings. The command selection cursor can now be moved using the left stick and by extension WASD on keyboards, with very few exceptions in certain screens. Again, this is a PC fix. It's also now possible to select which keys exit the game, so this escape is the default key for this, and it's also possible to bind the escape key to a different function. And then lastly, more frame rate options are now available. So they've got the option of 90 frames a second, 120 frames a second, or 144 frames a second, as well as the option to leave the frame rate unlocked. And then lastly, they also reveal that it's possible to change the in-game language of the game on Steam simply by changing the language of Steam itself. This is awesome to see these patches addressed both to the PlayStation 4 and Steam version. They've got a list of the different requirements for the low, medium and high preset graphic settings, but regardless, I think this is awesome. And again, hopefully as time goes on, especially as people send log data of their crashes to the team, they can address these fixtures for both the PC and PS4 version. And going on to some more Dragon Quest news, Dragon Quest Builders 2 is actually getting a demo in the near future. So the game is actually releasing on PlayStation 4 and Switch on December 20th of this year, but before that comes out, they will be releasing a demo so people can get a bit of an idea of the game. So the producer Noriyoshi Fujimoto said that once the game is done, they will start work on a demo to release before the full game releases. This is awesome. And on top of that, they showcased a new area called Akolm Island. It was an area that was previously prospered due to a gold rush, now is a desolate desert. And they also talked about underground. There were huge ruins and an underground lake. And they talk about 3 of the inhabitants. So Pero is a bar showgirl, Carlo is a former blacksmith, and Masamu is a man who's good at mining. They've got some more details on there. I'll leave a link to this article below. It's awesome though to see more demos come back now, because demos was something that was previously tied to CDs that you get with magazines, maybe included with games on the older consoles, and demos sort of disappeared. But now with obviously the access to games digitally, they can release so many demos digitally and give us an idea and give them patches and feedback that we can easily provide to the team and they can provide to us. They can basically improve the experience of the final game when it comes out. So that's awesome in regards to both Dragon Quest and all games in general now. Now moving on to some God Eater 3 news. So God Eater 3 is coming out not long from now, but it was announced at TGS that a God Eater 3 demo is available this month. So the demo is running from October 13th to October 21st. This is exclusively for people who have a Japanese PSN account. And in this demo, you can have a look at the character creation system. You can fight some missions against some new origami, try out some new moves that are now available in the God Eater 3 game. But they've also released information on a new mode. So this new mode is called the Assault Suppression Missions, and it is now an 8-player mode. So previously God Eater games have 4-player modes, but this one doubles it now. So what it is a very difficult mission where you have only 5 minutes to beat the target origami. But apparently even if you don't successfully complete the mission, players will be rewarded accordingly. This is an awesome thing, and I like these sort of things. They're quick, they involve lots of players and teamwork and strategy, and I think they also help you play better, because when you're playing with other people, there are a lot more variables that you need to take into account as opposed to when you're playing alone. And I think when you're playing alone, sometimes it can just be easy to go in and do things and know that you're likely going to come out winning. But in a situation like this, where they've also made it very difficult, I think it makes you think a bit more about your moves and allow you to strategize a bit better with players. So again, this is awesome. Now in regards to access to this mode, this will obviously be coming out with the full game, but on the last 2 days of the demo, October 20th and 21st, you'll be able to get a taste of the Assault Suppression missions. So if you happen to live in Japan or even have a Japanese PSN account and wish to try both the demo and even these missions out, feel free to download it now and have a good time. And yeah, I think this is awesome again that we're seeing more demos. And again, I'm so excited to see God Eater 3 come out. I just can't wait till we get a Western release date for the PlayStation 4 version. And then onto some final God Eater news. Union Creative announced that they are releasing a Soma Shixel figure in 2019. This apparently will be modelled after his God Eater 2 appearance. So this will technically be a God Eater 2 figure. It's really awesome. It's good to see more figures come out. And again, hopefully as we get more information, we can find out the size of the figure. We can find out whether there's any movability in it, whether it's more of a statue, and especially the prices and how to get it. Now moving on to some Xenoblade Chronicles news, and this time in regards to Xenoblade Chronicles X port for the Switch. So this is something I myself, and I'm sure many people have wanted, a Switch port of the game, especially given the Wii U didn't sell well. It was more difficult to play the game on the Wii U, requiring the gamepad in some form. But recently Tetsuya Takahashi revealed that they're not actually working on a Switch port for the game at the moment, citing that money is one of the reasons they're not working on it, and it's a massive game. Recreating it would be really difficult. He also said, personally speaking, I'd love to play the game on the Switch, but it would be really difficult to make it. So this is important to understand when in regards to porting games. It's not a simple thing of just taking the data of a game from one system and putting it onto the next. Sometimes they have to do a lot of work to the game, sometimes even get the game working on a different engine. So this is unfortunate, but hopefully with the continued success of Xenoblade Chronicles 2 and the potential success of their future games that they're currently working on, they may be able to release a Xenoblade Chronicles X Switch port down the road. I really hope that's the case, and again, fingers crossed, it's never impossible. And then lastly, onto some Final Fantasy news. So recently, Edamame Arcade Channel recently did an interview with Hironobu Sakaguchi, Nobuo Uematsu, and Yoshinori Kitase. This was sponsored by Square Enix, and basically this is a really awesome interview. I highly recommend you check it out. It's an interview with all three of them together, and they talk about a lot of things regarding their previous work on Final Fantasy VII game, the recent orchestra, maybe some news on Final Fantasy VII Remake, which they have censored out. It's really funny to watch though. And they also talked about their experiences of how they catch up often individually, but this is the first time that all three of them have been together in a very long time. So it's really cool to see them all get together. And again, I highly recommend you check it out. Get to know a bit more about their thoughts on the Final Fantasy series, specifically Final Fantasy VII. And again, hopefully in the future we start getting some more Final Fantasy VII Remake news, especially after Kingdom Hearts 3 comes out. I think that's when they'll really start giving us some more Final Fantasy VII Remake news. Anyways, I'll leave it at that. Let me know your thoughts on anything I've discussed below. Really exciting stuff there, and we're getting just so much JRPG and RPG news in general. It's really insane, and especially as Christmas time comes, hopefully we will get more specials on a lot of these games coming out. I'd really love to get Dragon Quest XI soon. So anyways, thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and until next video, stay spot on.